The forehand drive. Do it well and it will drive your opponents mad. So in this video, we're going to teach you everything you need to know, including how to create maximum power and where to hit it to.
And at the end of the video, we'll also tell you when to not play it, as this is where a lot of people go wrong, so stay tuned.
Before we break down the technique step by step, we need to answer one of the most common questions. Should you have a big swing?
Well, there's no simple answer to this. For beginners or kids, it might not be possible to drive without a big swing, as they've not got the power or timing just yet. And also, in certain situations, a big swing is actually more beneficial, like when you have lots of time, but we'll come back to this later in the video.
For most of you, having a shorter swing on your drive will steer your game in the right direction. But why is this the case?
Well, there are three main reasons. Firstly, if you have a big backswing, this takes time, and you then have to strike the shuttle later. But with the short backswing, you meet the shuttle earlier, meaning you have more options of what shots you can play, and it gives your opponents less time to react.
Secondly, a big swing often leads to a big follow-through. So by shortening your swing, you can reduce your follow-through and be in a better position for the next shot. And we call this a building shot.
And this is what the best players in the world do so well. It's often not easy to hit a drive winner if the shuttle is around the height of the net. And if you hit hard, it's likely to come back hard. So by playing a building shot with a short swing and follow-through, this can help you be ready faster and also set you up to have an easier shot next.
Thirdly, if you have a powerful drive with a short swing, you can then easily make it more powerful by increasing the size of your swing. It's a lot harder doing it the other way round.
For these three reasons, we're going to focus on how to drive with a shorter swing. So let's break it down step by step. Firstly, you need to be in a loose forehand grip, and you also need to be relaxed in your forearm and shoulder.
If you're not, and you find it really difficult to create power with a short swing, then this might be why. If you're really tense, then you have to use your entire arm to help create power, forcing you to use a bigger swing. And for those wondering, you can also use a panhandle grip for the forehand drive, and we'll get onto when you do this later in the video.
Okay, let's drive this video forwards and move on to step 2. When the shuttle comes towards you, you keep your shoulders and hips facing forwards, and then as you step out to the side or step forwards, you should bring your elbow back a little bit, whilst also slightly bending your wrist back. Bringing your elbow back allows you to have that short backswing to help create power. But there will be times where you don't have the time to bring your elbow back, and instead you create the power with just the squeeze of the grip. This is a really short swing, which is again often used as a building shot.
And if you don't bend your wrist back, then your racket will be facing down and sideways, which is not where we want the shuttle to go. Bending your wrist back also helps you to hit the shuttle cleanly and means that you don't slice the drive, which massively helps both your power and control.
So you're in this position. You then accelerate your elbow forwards, then bring your hand forwards and snap your wrist, and then finally you squeeze your grip as you strike the shuttle. And it's important to mention that this is all done very quickly after each other.
Yeah, it's not one continuous motion of your whole arm coming through at once. It might not be obvious, but after coaching a lot of players, them actively changing this has massively improved both their power and control.
The third step is the footwork, and the most important thing you need to do is step into the shot with your racket leg. But let's break the footwork down further.
So first, you need to do a split step and then step out or forwards. As your racket foot is about halfway through this step, you should now have completed step 1 and half of step 2. As a quick reminder, your elbow should be back a little and your wrist also bent back.
You then bring your elbow and hand forwards, like we mentioned in step 2. And then you ideally want your racket foot to land literally milliseconds before you squeeze your grip and strike the shuttle. This enables you to be in maximum control of your body, and you can also use this extra force from your step to add more power into your drive.
Now ideally, you want to be stepping forwards into the shot, which can also intimidate your opponent, helping you to play more effective, softer shots. But we know stepping forwards isn't always possible, and sometimes you might need to step out to the side, and this is where the panhandle grip comes in useful. This is because having your thumb on the side of the grip like this improves the control of your shot from this position.
Step 4 in this process is to think about where you're hitting your shot to. As we've said in many videos in the past, sometimes it's better to hit a shot with 80 or 90% power and perfect placement than 100% power but straight to their racket.
Yeah, for example, as you can see here, I'm hitting my drive with 80% power, ensuring that it goes flat over the net and putting Jenny into an awkward position. However, as you can see in this example, I'm hitting with 100% power, but as I have less control, my shot has gone slightly upwards onto Jenny's racket, and she can put me under pressure straight away. And don't worry if you get it wrong occasionally. Even arguably the best mixed player of all time, Zhengzi Wei, did in the final of the Olympics. Obviously hitting with 100% power and control is ideal, but this can be quite hard to do.
So, good places to hit the forehand drive are straight down the tram line, to the middle to surprise your opponent if you're playing singles, or to create indecision or set up your partner in doubles, or cross court. But a warning, if you play it cross court and you don't time it right, then it could end in disaster. Instead, we'd recommend only driving cross court when you're above the height of the net, because hitting cross is the longest distance, so this gives your opponent the most time to react.
So hitting cross court when you're not in a threatening position is one situation when you shouldn't hit a drive, but there are a few more. Think of it like there are 3 choices which are determined by where the shuttle is when you're about to hit it. The first option is where it's very high above the net and you can try and win the rally. Here you would use a bigger swing to help you generate extra power.
The second option is where the shuttle is around net height. If your opponent is in a good position, then you might choose to play an 80% building drive to set yourself up for the next shot, as we discussed earlier. This seems to be what the Olympic champions were discussing in the Olympic final.
So the final option is where you shouldn't hit a drive, and this is where we see a lot of people go wrong. If you're hitting the shuttle more than, say, 20 centimetres below the height of the net, it's often a good idea to try and play a softer shot to make your opponents move, or to lift it and give you time to recover. But of course, if there is a gap on court to drive into, then this still might be the right shot. So we now want to share 5 practices that every level of badminton player can do to help you not only perfect the technique, but also get used to making the right decisions.
The first one is hitting individual shuttles. This is a great practice to focus on the technique and timing of the shot. If you don't have someone that can hit shuttles accurately at you, they can throw them from the side. It's not as realistic, but it's okay for developing your technique.
The second practice is simply driving back and forth with your partner for sets of around 90 seconds. You won't be able to step into the shot as much here because it will come back very quick. But because of this, you'll be able to work on generating power with a shorter swing. And whilst we're practicing our drives, we wanted to share something that used to drive us mad. The fact that we couldn't watch any live badminton and watch the best players in the world doing drives. But thanks to Surfshark VPN, who are kindly sponsoring this video, we can now travel the world in one click and watch any badminton match we like.
And if you don't have a partner, but you still want to practice your drives, our third practice is wall hitting. Here, you should aim slightly higher up the wall to get into this drive position. If you're hitting a wall when trying to find your favourite shows on Netflix, like The US Office, then you can use Surfshark VPN to access different content libraries from around the world. Wow, the wall always gets it back.
So, to make sure you always get it back, you can do our next practice, drive rallies with 2 shuttles, which is again great for shortening your swing as well as practicing your accuracy under pressure. And another thing that drives us mad is when we look at flights to tournaments and then we look again the next day and they've nearly doubled in price. So, to stop this happening to you, you can again use Surfshark VPN.
Before we share our final practice, we wanted to share that you can share Surfshark VPN. With one subscription, you can have it on unlimited devices, so you and all of your friends can benefit. And the more people you share it with, the more it will drive the price down. So, if you want to get it for yourself, use our link in the description below and enter the code BadmintonInsight to get an extra 3 months for free. This is on top of a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there really is no risk in trying it out. We'd highly recommend it. And thanks again to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video and enabling us to continue to make these videos for you.
The final practice to make it match realistic is to do a 2-shot combination. 2 examples are to do a smash, then drive, or a backhand drive to a forehand drive. Hitting back to your partner after the first shot helps you to understand the time you'd have in a game and make the necessary adjustments in your movement.
You can, of course, always be practicing your drives in more open routines like rear mid, which we've shown in our 10 best 1v1 routines video, which we'll link here for you. And if you've got to the end of this video and you now want to perfect your backhand drive, we'll link our tutorial on that here for you. And lastly, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll hopefully see you on another video very soon. Bye.